Ladies and gentlemen, The Weeknd.
You don't know what's in store, but you know what you're here for.
Looking at the landscape of music today, how many artists are there doing it bigger than The Weeknd? It seems like the chart-topping, Grammy-boycotting, Super Bowl-performing Starboy has been on top of the world forever now. But this wasn't always the case. In fact, Abel Makonnen Tesfaye used to be so unknown that his American Apparel co-workers would be listening to his very first hits without knowing they were actually folding clothes next to the man responsible for them. So just how did The Weeknd go from this anonymous mystery from the outskirts of Toronto into one of the most successful artists of the 21st century right before our very own eyes? With just the right amount of toxicity, substance abuse, and some incredible high notes. And today, we're here to see just how far that combination can get you by going through what I personally think are the best Weeknd songs from each of his albums, starting off with The House of Balloons.
You don't know.
You know you're in for something different with The Weeknd the moment you hear the intro on here, as High for This really sets the tone for this mixtape, especially considering he's literally giving instructions on how to listen.
You wanna be high for this.
And then there's the title track, which is nothing short of an out-of-body experience. The first time I heard this song was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. I honestly didn't know music could get like this at the time. It would have easily been my pick had the next song on the track list not happened to be one of my favorite songs ever, that one being The Morning. I'll admit, this is not one of Abel's most creative or groundbreaking songs, but for me it might just be his prettiest. The way he slurs his verses through the spacey production right before the beat drops into the amazing hook. Every part of this song just hits all the right spots. There's not much more to say. I mean, I think everyone knows how good this song is. It's not like it's a hidden gem or anything like that, but that doesn't mean it's not great. Quickly, I gotta shout out Loft Music and The Party and the After Party, two super dope songs.
And I'm Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but on Thursday.
Thursday feels even more unconventional than House of Balloons, which is already saying something. The song structures on here are either completely unpredictable or outright non-existent, which Abel has said himself was a product of the drug-fueled recording sessions during this time. Just because it's unconventional though doesn't mean there's not great things going on here. We get another really strong intro in Lonely Star. I love the way the instrumental and Abel's voice slowly grow in grandeur as the song progresses, which is a pretty recurring theme in all of his music to be fair, like even to this day. The song I'm choosing off here though has to be The Birds, part 1 to be exact, even though part 2 is a really nice complimentary piece as well. If I had one word to describe this song, I think I'd have to say epic. Like, I literally feel like I'm marching off to war or something when I hear this track, even though the subject matter is about him warning the woman in his life not to fall in love with him. What he should have been doing though is warning me, because I was the one falling in love the moment I heard that chorus. The Weeknd writing songs of this level on his own at the age of 21 really shows that he was destined for greatness. The final piece of Trilogy is just as intriguingly captivating as the two projects before it. For me, I honestly enjoy all three of these records the most when I listen to them as sort of background music almost. I know that could sound negative, but I actually mean that in a good way. Like, you're just gonna have to trust me. If you understand, you understand. Again, I can't believe he was my age when he was making stuff this mature. My best work at age 21 was getting 100% completion on Spider-Man 2. Anyway, I'm just stalling here because I'm having a really hard time deciding between Next and Echoes of Silence. I'll start with Next. I think the hook on here is somewhat a bit basic, and I mean, the song does get a little repetitive, but the combination of Abel's voice intertwined with the piano, it's just way too smooth not to appreciate. And then the title track, Echoes of Silence, is like a perfect outro. It's a really empty song, but it's done intentionally. And I don't know, to me, it just sounds like exactly what Echoes of Silence should sound like. If you put a gun to my head though, I think I'd have to pick Next, as it's a little more playable. I also got a lot of love for Montreal, a nice little bilingual track. The Weeknd's first major studio album, Kissland, is not that far off from his mixtapes with its grand yet gloomy atmosphere, and I actually think it's a super underrated project, which really is a shame because I mean the quality of the songs on here is really good. It starts off amazing with Professional, and then it just continues from there. I honestly like every single song on here. I think they're all very complete and made with great attention to detail. That being said, it is also kind of hard for me to pick any particular standouts. I think that's maybe one of the reasons it does go a little more under the radar. There's obviously Live For with Drake, which is the biggest song on here, and it's one that I think some hardcore Weeknd fans don't like that much, but personally I will eat up that OVO and that XO every time, even though I'm pretty sure the two don't like each other very much anymore. If I had to pick here though, I'm gonna have to go with Adaptation, thanks to its powerful vocals topped off with an even more powerful instrumental. There's just no one out there that makes Toxicity sound as majestic as The Weeknd, as Abel articulates his decision to leave the girl who might have been the one in order to embrace the solo lifestyle he chose for himself. He is very hurt about it, you can hear it in his voice, but ultimately it's okay because he's adapted anyway. By the time 2015 came around, Abel said, enough of that mysterious shit. It's time to unveil the beauty behind the madness. There's a big production shift here on this record, with these songs being much more accessible than The Weeknd's previous work, resulting in what is still his most commercially successful release to this date and featuring huge songs like The Hills and Can't Feel My Face, both of which are very well-deserved bangers, by the way. That being said, I do think The Weeknd did lose a bit of creativity with this album in favor of seeking that mainstream appeal. He's such a talented singer that it doesn't really matter, the songs still all turn out good, but at times this project almost comes across to me like a factory produced or like a corporate made Weeknd album, if that makes sense. I was gonna say AI generated, but that's taking it way too far. Like, I still think it's really good. One exception to this critique though, and ultimately my pick for this album, has to be Losers, which actually doesn't rely on any high vocals from The Weeknd and is instead carried by its super dope instrumental. I absolutely love the beat drops in this song, especially the last minute that turns into like this crazy triumphant jazz piece. I think it's so fire. This might be one of my more like niche picks. I don't know, maybe not. Let me know what you think in the comments, but this song is just a personal favorite. I also do have to shout out Tell Your Friends, Prisoner, and Angel. Also great songs.
I'm a motherfucking starboy.
Now that The Weeknd had truly hit the mainstream, it was time for him to really embrace becoming a star, and boy did he ever. I think the songs on here can feel a little formulaic to me and not as boundary breaking as either Abel's previous or later work actually, but that also means they're catchy as hell, and there's still a strong creative direction on here. Like, I do like the aesthetic of this album. Abel never misses on his intros or his title tracks, and I think Starboy continues that streak of both. And then we have Reminder, which features what is actually, in my opinion, The Weeknd's strongest rapping performance ever, with one of his most iconic lines as well. His flow and delivery on here is just so smooth. He's completely in his bag, and for lack of better terms, he made this be his bitch. And this Stargirl interlude, which I'll never forgive Abel for not turning it into an entire song. It's arguably my favorite interlude of all time. Why were any of these songs picked, you might ask then? It's because they're not called Die For You. This is my favorite song on this album. There's not a ton to analyze here. It's just a great, catchy one that I've sang way too many times at the top of my lungs for me not to pick it. I don't know why it took the world 6 years to realize how much of a banger it was, with it hitting #1 in 2023, which is pretty crazy, but better late than never, I guess. My Dear Melancholy is living proof that nothing will really take you back to your roots more than fumbling a baddie. Or two in this case. A project that Abel himself has described as a therapy session, this EP goes right back to the dark atmosphere that he thrived so well in on Trilogy and Kissland, but this time as a more mature and jaded 28-year-old. It's a pretty simple project by The Weeknd standards, but like I said, he's so talented that it still ends up effective. And I think it's at its most effective with the very first song, Call Out My Name. The emotion on Abel's voice on this one just comes across really captivating and genuine to me. The way he's able to convey his pain through his vocals is really impressive, and I mean, he's really airing out some personal shit about Selena Gomez on here in a way you don't see him do that often this directly. A small detail that I really love on this one is the way he alters his voice in the delivery of the second chorus. Anguish isn't meant to sound pretty and elegant. It should feel a little rough, and I think the distortion gives that effect off so well. I think the song is a passionate and powerful highlight to this short but sweet project. Though my honorable mentions here would be Wasted Times and I Was Never There. I like those ones too. This album will forever be associated with lockdown for me. I vividly remember chilling with my headphones on full blast when the beat dropped in Alone Again thinking, damn, he's back. Personally, this is my favorite Weeknd album since he became a star because I feel as though it's where he finally managed to really balance keeping that huge mainstream appeal that he reached with Beauty Behind the Madness and Starboy while still feeling as fresh and bold as he did in his earliest work. There's a lot of different directions I could go on here. I know I threw a small shot in the thumbnail, but I mean, I obviously love Flashing Lights. It's just an absolute smash hit of a song. I mean, everyone knows that. In Your Eyes and Save Your Tears I find really enjoyable as well. Both Faith and After Hours slot right along other classic long-ass Weeknd songs that take you to so many different places. And Until I Bleed Out is a super underrated intro. The synths on here go crazy. Don't Kill Me, but Hardest to Love and Scared to Live don't really do it for me. And it's only because they just sound too happy for me, okay? I'm sorry, it's just a personal thing. I just think that The Weeknd is at his peak for me on a cooler, eerier type sound, and my pick for this album really reflects that, as I decided to go with Snow Child. This is a simple song with honestly not a ton going on compared to the ones I just mentioned, but I just really like this one, okay? I think it's a really nice reflective piece from Abel on his come up to where he is now, and the way his verse builds up into the chorus with the beat drop, it's just spectacular.
Kelly was the mission, but now a nigga leaving.
I already mentioned how much I love The Morning, so you know that Cali is the mission callback is going to be huge bonus points for me. Yeah, I don't know, that's all I really have to say. Great song, great album. Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I wasn't as into Dawn FM compared to Abel's previous work. Don't kill me. Like, this is a high quality album with a strong direction and attention to detail. I mean, even just listen to the transitions. I'm just one of those type of people that really aligns more with his old sound compared to the more upbeat, groovy style on here. I still do respect and appreciate him evolving his sound and style as his life and career progresses. He's not that same spooky 21-year-old from Scarborough anymore, and his music should reflect that, so don't get me wrong, I'm all on board. Sometimes artists make some odd decisions with which songs to drop as singles, but I think Abel went 3 for 3 on here with Take My Breath, Sacrifice, and Out of Time. For some reason though, only the French got to enjoy the best song on here as a single, that being Less Than Zero. It's impossible not to bob your head to this one. It's both sad and happy at the same time in the best way possible, and that chorus especially is just so splendid. This song gives like anthem vibes and it's just really good. Finally though, I couldn't not mention Is There Someone Else. This one really almost took it for me. It's just a great bop. I love the sound on here. Okay, and there we have it. We've made it to the end of Abel's wildly successful catalog, at least until he drops his alleged final album as The Weeknd. We'll see what happens there. Maybe we'll be back for that. But for now, feel free to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and let me know what songs I missed in the comments down below. Other than that, I will see you next time.